Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Secretary.
Good morning.
And we will talk about something other than the farm show, at least for a few minutes here.
That will be refreshing, that you have other concerns.
Over the last few weeks, we've had a lot of discussions with a lot of various secretaries, and as you know, as these hearings go on, some things prop up and they generate some concerns, and I'd just like to discuss a few of those issues with you to see what your thoughts are as we move forward. First off, with DHS, we had some discussions about the Medicaid capitation line being an augmentation, essentially reduction of that line based upon the GRT tax, which is no longer going to be available to us in the future. And does that create a budget hole next year? In our discussions with the Secretary, they said that there's going to be normal growth of about $400 million on that line, and the loss of the augmentation of $351 million can potentially mean an increase next year of $750 million on that line item alone. Do you agree with that assessment?
Look, I don't know what the Secretary may or may not have said. We meet on a regular basis. Every other week we sit down with Secretary Miller and her staff. As I already alluded to, trying to take whatever steps we can take, working with the General Assembly to, bend that cost curve, to maximize the amount of federal reimbursements, third-party reimbursements, to fully fund our medical assistance and larger DHS obligations is a constant focus of our budget efforts. We hope to again, like we have done in the current fiscal year, as we have done in both previous fiscal years, continue to identify additional measures, steps that we can take to reduce what we believe to be otherwise the cost of fully funding those obligations.
And Secretary, she did allude to the fact that, they're looking to try to find some innovative ways to address that. But your answer is that right now that is a potential that we need to address.
Yeah, here's the way I would answer it. If you want to compare budget books, I mean, go back, look as a historical record at what we anticipated the 18-19 DHS expenditures to total, and then look at what our proposed budget for 18-19 ended up to be. It's about $1 billion delta.
Right.
And we hope to, again, as we look at 18-19 and 19-20 and each year thereafter, continue to identify, to your point, necessary initiatives to reduce those costs going forward. And
also looking forward, it's not so much something that will affect this year's budget, but next year's budget is the governor's proposal for combined reporting. In discussions we've had with the various secretaries over the years, there's been a wide range of numbers of what is expected to come to the Commonwealth, additional revenues that the Commonwealth can obtain through combined reporting. Do you have an estimate yourself of what you believe it is?
Yeah, this would be for 19...
Net of any rate changes.
Yeah. This would be for 19-20, not 18-19. It takes 2 years to implement combined reporting, so while it would be effective January 1 of 2019, it wouldn't have a budget impact, if you will, for the 18-19 fiscal year. But we believe that number for 19-20 to be worth about $900 million.
And can you tell me, just for my own edification, why in the past when I've talked to Secretary McNulty and in 15-16, she told me the number would be $507 million net of any rate changes. Secretary Hassel this year, just let me finish. Secretary Hassel this year said $900 million. He said the same number you did. At the same time, Director McNiddle of the IFO said anywhere from 9 to 12% of the total collections that we normally have from CNIT, which I believe is a little over $3 billion. So that would be anywhere from $270 million to $360 million increase. Can you tell me what the difference between your estimate and the IFO's and Secretary McNulty's in 15-16?
There are other moving pieces, particularly the NOL, and what we do with an NOL cap or allowance can be intertwined. A lot of the past proposals have eliminated any caps on net operating losses going forward. As we've provided or recommended the shift to full unitary combined reporting. That may account for some of the differences. I'd have to know what people assumed.
Yeah, and I think the biggest concern there really is the difference between your estimate and the IFOs. And I think we need to really thrash out exactly what is the difference there so we don't have a situation in the future. And lastly, real quickly, the LCB, when they were here, they made comment that they had some concerns about the ability to continue to make a $185 million transfer in the future. Do you have those concerns as well?
I think from the administration standpoint, we're very, very bullish about what the opportunities may be for the LCB going forward. Again, another one of those things that I would say thank you to the General Assembly. You know, I think we worked well to come to a consensus plan for what was then, I believe, Act 39 of 2016. We think it's a win-win for the Commonwealth. We think we've immeasurably improved customer convenience. We've given customers more options to shop for particularly beer and wine in supermarkets, as well as through the wine and spirits stores for those beverages. We think that with the competitive pricing and other flexibilities that legislation provided, our LCB system, that they can not only meet but maybe exceed those out-year forecasts. And we're confident that working with them, yes, pushing and prodding them, I admit, from time to time. That's our job as an administration. That's the governor's job personally. But we are confident that we can meet those long-term forecasts and see that, again, as another great example of the good work that can occur when the General Assembly and our administration can figure out how to work together.
And I truly hope that is the case, but thus far, I have yet to see it actually materialize in profits, and hopefully those changes we made in the past will materialize. I don't see it right now. Just in closing, just wanted to make comment that collectively all these things does generate some concerns, not so much this year's budget, but future year budgets of do we have any type of deficit that we're going to need to address, and I'm certain that you will be paying attention to it as much as we will. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.